Inflation concerns, rising interest rates, big tech down. This can't be good for Bitcoin or Cardano. What is up, everyone? Welcome to Crypto Capital Venture. Hit that subscribe and like on the way in. Let's jump into it. S&P 500, that's what we're looking at right here. This is really an important time. I mean, I don't dig into these charts a lot. I don't dig into this stuff a lot. But before we talk about the charts, I want to go over here. This is just some headlines. Market bull issues 10% correction warning, blames inflation fallout and Washington policy uncertainty. Stocks could slide further as interest rates rise and big tech drags the market. This stuck out to me. Stock strategists see more selling ahead and say S&P 500 could go as low as 4,127, its 200-day moving average and a momentum indicator. So let's bring all of this together on the charts. S&P 500, Bitcoin, Cardano. Let's talk about the current state. By the way, everybody, I'm not a financial advisor. If you're looking for a financial advisor, seek one out. I'm just here sharing data with you. I know all of you, most of you know that, but I have to just hit that home. I'm a guy on this crypto journey right alongside of you, just tracking all of this interesting data. And this S&P 500 data is interesting to me. There's a couple points on this chart I want to watch. So in that article, it noted the 200-day moving average. That's down here, $4,100 area. Now, could S&P 500 kind of continue into that range? Absolutely. To give you context, it looks very big, but it's actually just a 5% dip, which actually is pretty big for S&P 500. But the part of this chart I wanted to show you to segue into Bitcoin and Cardano is this. We had, or S&P 500 had this move below the blue line, the 50-day moving average. That's number one. There's talks of continuation to the 200-day. If we go back on this chart and we look at really, besides this area, which was COVID, but really if we look at a similar move of S&P 500 dipping below the 50-day moving average to the 200, we're looking around May to June area. Now, if we go to Bitcoin and we zoom out on a Bitcoin chart and we go to that May, June area, what was Bitcoin doing? So here's May, June 2019, by the way. This is what Bitcoin was doing. It was going up while the S&P 500 was going down. So that is to say that, of course, Bitcoin can continue bullish in an environment where traditional markets aren't. Absolutely. However, to segue into the current state of Bitcoin, this is my concern. My concern is a couple things. Number one, and let me kind of get rid of this so we can see the chart a little bit more clearly. Number one, we have all these moving averages in this downtrend with this, you have this 20-day moving average, first off, just crossing below the 50-day. We had the 50-day cross above that, that blue line crossing above the red line, the 200-day moving average. We had that move, but it was extremely weak. Bitcoin got pretty much no separation, barely any separation above this area when it happened. And it very quickly fell below. And right now we're seeing resistance below all of these moving averages. That's something that wasn't happening back in May to June of 2019. The other thing is this. We had the all-time high to the swing low consolidation that we were tracking, and we made our move. Bitcoin finally made its move to the lower high resistance area. It's a 786 around 57,000 to the 618 around 51,000, just under 51,000. And Bitcoin very quickly failed at the Fibonacci lower high resistance. And right now, that's what we're in. Off of that failure, we're in this downtrend on this daily chart, breaking below these moving averages. It's definitely a concern. So in an environment where Bitcoin's falling with S&P 500 in traditional markets, there's fear in all the markets, and it's all happening. We can take the swing low that we had back here on this daily chart to that swing high resistance that we just looked at right here around 52 to 55,000 or 52 to $53,000. We have a higher low support area on the midterm chart that we should really be aware of, which is, and we should be aware of this anyway, even in an environment where S&P 500 is going up, traditional markets are going up. It's a 618 around $38,000 to $39,000 to the 786 just above $34,000. It's a support area for Bitcoin. So let's say S&P 500 is tanking. Let's see we have another, just the next week is tough for all markets. Bitcoin could be an environment where it tanks not 5% like S&P 500 potentially, but 15 to 20% into this higher low range. That higher low range is from this swing low, a higher low. So we have to be patient for these things. Fibonacci's play out all the time. We've been tracking them for so long. And in an environment where we're getting these consolidations in between these Fibonacci, so like this lower high, then potentially get a higher low, we start getting structure on the Bitcoin charts. Oftentimes, it really does turn into symmetrical triangles, but oftentimes, it also turns into things like descending triangles. And notice, these things take a while, especially this is a huge potential setup for Bitcoin. So on the short term, just to give you an idea, if we're going to see Bitcoin make a break to the upside, this is the area to break. It's a very short term lower high resistance for Bitcoin, which is right around 45,400 to around $46,800. If Bitcoin can make its move to that area and break above, we could be really seeing Bitcoin turn this thing around for continuation, obviously. But anything below that, I mean, for me personally, I'm just like, especially you see kind of this lower trend line or this upper trend line, a move to 43,000, right? A $2,000 move. Say it happens tonight or overnight or something. That's not something that would turn me bullish in this short-term chart. So that's what I'm tracking on Bitcoin. Let's pivot over to Cardano. The weekly, one thing to note, it no matter what's going on in all markets, Bitcoin, traditional markets, the world, whatever, it doesn't surprise me post this hard fork, Alonzo, smart contracts, that Cardano is consolidating. And it's doing so, it's consolidating into the 20-day move, the 20-week moving average. We knew it was a possibility. The same thing happened post Mary hard fork consolidation and Shelly hard fork consolidation. So that doesn't surprise me, but we start digging into the charts and we start seeing, all right, well, what's the story? Like what's going on with Cardano? And we've been tracking it, I would say, pretty well. Note on the daily chart, 20-day moving average crossed below the 50-day. Right here, resistance, all in there. Boom. For the last 3 days, down. Cardano, red. And we knew is a possibility. One thing I want to remind you of, we talked about this area of, consolidation. So and I want to explain this momentum oscillator consolidation. We had a swing high all the way back in February down to a swing low in April. Now, we were talking about that, and I'm sorry, not April, down to a swing low here in June. So this entire move of consolidation for Cardano, we were recently talking about a very similar move, but on a shorter time scale. So overbought on the RSI, coming down to this area, same area as we were here, way quicker. Took 132 days last time, 38 days this time. Now notice after it did do this, it bounced up briefly at resistance to the 50-day moving average. So boom, here's the bounce. And then it dipped again. Boom. So right now, we did hit this area. We came up, we saw 50-day moving average resistance, and we're dipping again. So this is really interesting on these charts to me because it's almost mimicking the consolidation that took place back here, but way faster. And it's going to be really interesting to see if support might hold in the same way. And there's no guarantees, but it's going to be fun to watch at the very least. And this is what we're watching on the 6 hour. This is the symmetrical triangle that Cardano fell into. And if we're looking at the symmetrical triangle, it's very simple. It is lower highs and a baseline support area. The lower high is all-time high to that crazy swing low. Boom, resistance, lower high resistance. Look at that Fibonacci playing out. That's that first lower high touch. And then from there, we've been tracking this one. This little swing high here to that swing low. We tracked this. Boom, lower high resistance at a Fibonacci. It's no surprise. And it's just straight up data. It's a straight up tool and indicator that just plays out so often. A lot of people, I think, get tired of me saying Fibonacci, but it's like the most powerful tool on the charts because it just allows us to anticipate and be ready for these things and to also track and see, is there bullishness happening? Meaning, Is there a confirmation where, boom, we're breaking through a Fibonacci like that? And it did not happen. We didn't get that bullish confirmation. We bounced off of that, and now we're down, and we're starting to retest this $2 area. It's $2.05 right now as I do this video. So here we are in a descending triangle that we were anticipating that we could be in, and here we are. And so if we're looking at a symmetrical triangle, 61% to 65% to the apex, and right here is 65%, I believe, if I mark that right, is typically when we'll see some type of breakout on average. That's based on Bolkowski's data, the patternsite.com. It's not my data. I use his data because it just helps me visualize and be ready, and also be patient, because these setups, as you know, and as you've seen us track on this YouTube channel, they take time. So that's one data point. How far into the apex do we see a breakout? So 61 to 65% of the way to a triangle apex. But the other thing I really want to throw out there is this data point. 58% of the time, a pullback. We get a pullback rate. The reason why I want to mention that is because if Cardano falls below $2, these patterns don't work in the sense of, like, if you break a trend line and you close a daily candle below it, you're definitely hitting the target, right? And in this case, it's like $1.30 to $1.40 down here. It doesn't work like that. If you just break the trend line, it's going to happen automatically. There are a lot of instances where you get pullbacks and throwbacks. A pullback is a break to the downside, but boom, fake out and then continuation, or a break to the upside and then a throwback and then boom. So, and we've seen this play out often. And Bolkowski is saying 58% of the time we see a pullback. And we've anticipated things like this before, right? But so if we get a move to the downside and we break this trend line, it would be very, very important to anticipate a move like that, right? A pullback. And the pullback doesn't have to be bullish. It could just be a very simple pullback to the lower trend line to see if there's resistance. And that's a double confirmation. It's a double bearish confirmation if there's resistance. So those are the things that I'm watching on Cardano right now. We're getting very close. This apex, the 65% area is like October 2nd. It's coming in quick. So you want to be careful out there, everybody. In terms of what happens next, I'm not going to sit here and tell you, because I have absolutely no idea. When we were getting into this $3 range, it was absolutely awesome, and we all wanted to continue that direction. But the cooling off, the consolidation that's been taking place across all markets is 100% not a surprise. Hopefully, this can become a breakout to the upside of this descending triangle, but time will tell. We're just patient. As I always say, just evaluate your situation, everybody. Evaluate your situation, figure out a game plan, what you're comfortable with, where you want to take profits. We're all so different in regards to what's going on in our lives, when we want to take profits, how much of our portfolio. I can't sit here and give you advice on those things. That's what you need to collect the data and kind of just figure that out. But I also want to throw this out there, everybody. This is crypto, and it can be very stressful just watching these charts, zoomed in on these charts on the 6 hour and even the daily, watching price. And I just want to give you a reminder, life is so much more than crypto. And remember that. Remember that. And that's something I always have to remind myself, especially lately. And I pray that you all are blessed out there. I really do. I pray that you have a good night. Let's see what happens with these charts, these crazy, crazy charts. If you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe, hit that like. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.